Hey everyone, Rabbit Hedgehog here, and we want to thank our sponsors before the start of this video. Shout out to Law Tigers out there riding with us right now, but standing with us in the event of an accident. Need custom racing leathers or gear for the everyday ride? AGVSportUSA is here for that, and based out of Argyle, Texas, and serving riders nationwide. Also, we want to thank Doug Crawford, an independent AMSOIL dealer, for providing us with the fluids that keep our machines running well on into the future. Visit the description below for web links and contact details to get in touch with them today.
What's up, everybody? This is the Rabbit Hedgehog with Indian Motorcycle of Oklahoma City, and today we're going to get to take out the brand new 2025 Indian Chieftain PowerPlus edition with the 112 and rider assist. So this will be the top of the line when it comes to the Chieftain, and except for having the power band audio, this one does not have that installed, but it is something that you can do. The big difference, of course, that's going to be going on with this new Chieftain PowerPlus is that essentially everything is on the Challenger platform. You still get the very large radial mounted Brembo brakes on the front, inverted forks, fork mounted fairing instead of a frame mounted fairing. And it is a completely new design that you will see that it has a character line that goes through it right there versus the original Chief with just the single round headlight. So it's got the character LEDs on it. The same Chief on the front there, that one lights up. You can get it in course limited or dark horse being the blacked out model. But you can see everything pretty much looks like a Challenger, especially from that point backwards. And of course the new fairing, we'll go over that here in a moment. Biggest difference is when it comes to the Chieftain or anything with the 112 with the rider aid is that it is going to have this little guy right here, and that is a radar system. This is for tailgate warning and rear crash mitigation and also blind spot detection. So if you've got somebody coming up on you really quick, this radar will detect it and it will flash those lights, because these are stock on these bikes here, and that way it will give warning that there's a motorcycle there, and hopefully they see you sitting there with those lights blinking at them. When we're looking at the new fairing here, notice it's a little bit different. Used to, you had your trickle charge port here and your auxiliary here that you would eventually possibly put into your bike if you had the fog lamps or something like that. So you had that little cover there. But now those are taken away, gives a little bit more cleaner look. A little bit different look inside. A little bit different design for this as well on the upper storage compartment there for where your phone is. That's where your USB charger hides out. And a little bit different on the speakers as well. Of course, looking at the fairing itself, it does have bigger inlets here, where the other fairing has that more traditional single hole there. This one very much what looks like the Challenger, in that it has two large scallop air scoops there. Coming around, this is where your trickle charge port is now. Down at the bottom, you'll see it right there. Of course, my glove, I can't get it in there right now, but that's where you'll do it. And this is where your button is for your fuel cap. So if you have a Challenger, it's right there on the bottom end of the fairing. On this one, simply push up, get your fuel open, fuel it, lock your saddlebags there as well. Saddlebags are the conventional saddlebags Indian's been using for quite a while. Very adequate space on there. Another key difference between this one and, of course, the Chieftain is that this one does have the hydraulic suspension in the back that has a preload that you screw in versus the air shock. All right, let's go ahead and hop up on it. These weigh a little bit more than their air-cooled counterparts. Their air-cooled counterparts are roughly 820 pounds or so. These end up being about 840 or so. In terms of the layout of the controls and the switch cubes and everything, very standard Indian affair that they've had since around the 2019 era. Of course, they did the power button a little bit later, but that's where you start it. You hit the power button. You'll see the systems coming online. These mirrors do have those lights for the blind spot detection and everything, tells you what's going on. As it's coming up with the ride command and everything, still glove sensitive to the touch, you know, like we've had for a long time with Ride Command. Right side is your tachometer, your neutral indication, current odometer. Left side is your speedometer with your fuel mileage, fuel gauge, and some other stuff. Side stand warning, and you can actually see that will kick on. Side stand warning there. Fuel low warning, brights, left turn signal, and the cruise control ready lights. Over here you have your coolant warning, service engine, oil, chassis indication, fault, tire pressure monitor, traction control, ABS, and that's another difference too. This one has traction control where the other Chieftain does not. And of course the if your fob's missing, key warning light there. You can still raise and lower the windscreen on the right hand side. Double tap takes it all the way down. Double tap up takes it all the way up. Or you can stop kind of in between wherever you feel more comfortable. You have your engine cutoff switch to starter. You also have your cruise control here. On this side, you have your turn signal, self-canceling from a stop, push in for your hazards. You also have your menu button, so if you're on a screen that has a menu, you press on it, it'll bring up the menu, like the AM/FM radio and all that. You do have a paddle on each side. Paddle on the right side is basically select the device or the menu option that you are on. The left side will forward the screen over. You can also use the touch sensitive controls like over here where you've got the map layers and stuff where you can go through and put that on there if you had the Ride Command Plus version of everything. So that's all accessible through gloves or not. So cool design there. And of course you have your 4-way for your speakers, which sound pretty good. It's 100 watts of audio, 50 per each channel. And you can skip your radio station, skip your music with it, mute it, all that good stuff. But due to copyright, we are not going to turn that on today. Again, that left pedal is to get through. You also can add widgets to each screen. You can see I can scroll through there. There's the widget there. And I can drag that over if I want to, replace any of those that I want to on that side. But I'm not too worried about doing that today, because I want to find out how this bad boy rides. Now, if you wanted to defeat the new rider aids, you definitely can in the screen. I'm going to put this in standard mode first. You do have your traction control, rain, standard, sport, all that good stuff is right there. I'm going to put it in standard for now, but you can see tailgate warning, blind spot warning, hill hold, and I can turn that off just by tapping it right there, as you can see, on and off. So I'm not going to turn that on at this time. I'm going to keep that off as well. These do have linked braking as well, so if I apply front or back brake by itself, it will automatically push on the other brake that I'm not using. Of course, we're going to take off for the first time, and very familiar riding position to Chieftain riders. It's a very compact ride. I've honestly liked the way the Chieftain rides for a long time. In fact, I've set up my Springfield to act exactly like the Chieftain because I do like the way the Chieftain rides. I even have Chieftain bars on it now for that reason. It's just a comfortable, where your hands fall to the bar is just wonderful. Works out really well, and quite frankly, it carries over to the PowerPlus with the 112, 108, whichever one you're looking at. They have both basically. We've got plenty of power on tap. Right now, 4th gear already at highway speed at 60 miles an hour and only 3,500 RPM. Like I said, I am in the standard mode, which is the in-between kind of power delivery mode. So again, Indian only does this as a change in throttle response, not necessarily an actual power change on the engine as some of these modes are. So if you're thinking it's changing the power, it's not. It's actually just changing how this is responding in terms of the throttle response. All right, riding down the highway, I'm actually seeing the blind spot warning coming in right now. Just seeing it. You see these little yellow bars that come up on your ride command screen, and also your mirror has that yellow as well. I don't know if it can actually tell the difference between a car and a bike yet, but I see a little car icon right there telling me something's there. So I need a bike to show up to see if it's a, well, you know, bike or not. I'm actually in 5th gear right now at 3,000 RPM at 65-ish miles an hour, and it's just cruising right along very smoothly right now. It's right in the power band, so you can just give her a rip and she climbs quite quickly, and it's quite nice there. Just a very good overall platform. The PowerPlus engine's always been a very good and responsive engine for Indian, especially on the Challenger pursuits. And of course now they're bringing it over to the air-cooled line now, basically, and you know, getting the traditional fairing, I should say, involved with the engine. So you're kind of getting a merge between the old and the new, and this is actually a rather comfortable ride. I will say, if you can hear the difference in the wind in terms of the windshield position, right now I did drop that to the most bottom position it could go, and there is a little bit of buffeting. Again, Rabbit Hedgehog is around 6 foot tall, 209 pounds or so, 32-inch inseam. So I sit pretty tall because I actually have a long trunk, you know, and some long legs. I'm kind of an awkward looking thing for sure. Short arms, just weird. Anyway, it's very comfortable for me though. The seat, really nice. The legs go straight out. They're not over the tank by any means. And they drop kind of slightly forward down to the floorboards, which are nice and large. Something I've always liked about the Indians is having those nice and large floorboards, especially for somebody like me who has a size 14 foot. It's very roomy and very comfortable, very good for vibration reduction as well on those. And of course the PowerPlus doesn't make as much vibrations as the Thunderstroke, so there's not much to stop. It's just a nice smooth engine. I do love how these just keep popping up, you know, with the blind spot warning, these cars coming up. It's very nice. It's nice and sensitive. I can see that car already, and he was pretty far back there, and it gives me a good indication that somebody is there rather quickly, and love that. I mean, it's enough where if you're looking straight ahead, you can see those orange flashes coming from those to let you know that there's a vehicle right there. And the mirrors are very visible too, so that works out to be very good as well. So you can see just fine through everything. You can see it popping up, you know, seamlessly as cars come up to my left and right and go by. And it's very nice. Like I can see this this Nissan coming up to my right here, but I'm also about to pass one. So there comes another guy to my left and pops up immediately. So it's really cool. You can see that happening very quickly, and it's nice. I mean, I've seen some cars that can't catch that fast, you know, whenever there's something coming up behind somebody. So I'm impressed with that. Of course, the tailgate warning I can't see. If somebody's coming up on me, it flashes those lights for me. I don't get to see that in action. I will see a notification on my screen that yes, there's a car coming, and maybe I need to keep my head up and looking at those mirrors and seeing that they're going to come in and possibly give me a tap, and that way I can get out of the way. So pretty cool tech overall. Back to the windscreen here. Little bit of buffeting there. Let's go ahead and get it all the way up, and that actually cuts out quite a bit, if not all of the buffeting. It's very quiet now. The overall design of the fairing is actually rather good. Being in Oklahoma, we get quite a bit of wind every day, and I would say our winds are somewhere in the 20s today. And I believe they are from the north. I believe I'm going straight into it. And if I'm not, I will be here in a moment going south for sure. But with those winds being as high as they are, I don't feel that typical, you know, little squirm that some of these can get. And it doesn't matter which bike you have. I've been on Yamahas, I've been on everything with a Batwing fairing. and you'll get a little bit, it's not as exaggerated as I'm showing, you'll just get this little bit of wave from the wind as it pushes against parts of the fairing, because it is directly correlated into your fork. So it does have some pushback, and you can definitely feel it sometimes when you have enough wind. So feeling this, it's a very stable, very good design, very aerodynamic batwing, and it actually is very nice to sit behind. I have a very calm, you know, airflow right here, and it's quite lovely. It's not buffeting or anything, so you can find a good spot for the windscreen. Of course, you can add different windscreens to make that even better. You can get a flared windscreen, one with wider winglets and stuff, and, you know, just make it your own at that point, but it will also give you a little bit better control of the wind, and that's what some people will look for. I'm going to go ahead and get her into sport mode real quick. You can do that on the fly, as you just saw. All you got to do to get it into the actual mode is to pull in the clutch, and it is in the sport mode. It's in the fastest reaction it can be. And oh, this is fun. Woo-hoo! Pulls all day long. One thing about the Thunderstroke engine, at about 4,000 to 4,500 RPM, it's really out of breath, and it's not really making power anymore. And you can kind of tell, so you want to get shifted really quick, short shift that down, and allow that thing to be in its power band. The PowerPlus, it's power everywhere, and it will scream all the way to its red line, which is 6,500 RPM. So you have more room to play with and get that horsepower. These actually are rated at 133 foot-pounds of torque and 126 horsepower. So very good power numbers out of the box. And this thing is just magnificent. The power delivery is wonderful. The ride is very comfortable. The seating, of course, is very similar to the Challenger in terms of the seat that you're sitting on the saddle. And that's always been a good seat. The Chieftain has that kind of rounded front end, where the Challenger is more of a squared off taper. And both seats are really good. I like them both pretty equally. But this bike does set you back a little further. I believe the seat just feels, because you got a bigger gas tank at 6 gallons versus 5.5 with the other one. So you got a bigger gas tank here that allows you to have a little bit more go distance than your air-cooled one as well. So like I said, pretty much if you love the Challenger platform but you wanted the fairing to move with you, this is the answer to that. And like I said, it's a very good, see some flags there. I think it's actually kind of crosswind right now, to be honest. But even then, wind protection has been very good on the bike. Not very much buffeting or anything. I get that windscreen all the way to the top, and it cuts it out on me. Maybe a little bit toward the top back of the helmet, the very tallest portion of myself. But other than that, not bad at all. You can see that having all the technology, I'm still going to look dadgummit. I don't trust technology in the long run, but it is cool to have, because as I'm coming up on this car, as they get into that spot, boom, it's right there. And it's literally right exactly where my blind spot would be. I see it coming out into my peripheral, and then it's right there just out of it, and that's when that comes on. So it's perfectly where my blind spot typically is as a car tries to sneak in. And it's so nice to not necessarily rely on just your ears and your sight. You have your bike actually telling you, hey, this is there. And that way you have a cue that, hey, there's definitely something there, and you always take a look to make sure you're absolutely right. But it's so snappy. It works so well. I love it a lot, actually. I could live with that very well. Minor gripe on that, you know, you have to put the lights in there. You can kind of see where the, you know, the wire comes out on each side, especially on that side over here on the left side. See where that comes out. And yeah, it's not as clean as it used to be, but it plugs right back into, you know, the bar, and it's not that far out of line, so it's not too bad. it's going to get better as time goes on. This is the first year for this technology on this motorcycle, and as time goes on, it very much well usually gets better. And heck, man, I love the thing, dig it. Very comfortable ride. The suspension is very, very nice. Oklahoma roads are known to be very broken. Usually you hear me on this road going, The Challenger platform and now this Chieftain with that hydraulic suspension has always been super smooth. The inverted forks keeping down that unsprung weight makes this thing very flickable. I mean, this is a large 840-pound bike, and it will fling itself into a corner nicely. And of course, I'm not going to play that game. We still have salt and sand on the roads. I don't want to hit that and go flying on my own and break a brand new motorcycle. That is just not part of what I want to do. But also, I don't want to drag any parts because this bike is for sale. This is one of our units that we have on the floor, and I would rather keep it in check and also treat it with respect, and that way it has its break-in period properly and not flogged to death or anything like that. So we try to treat these things with respect when we do our test rides, because we want to know about them too. We're excited just as much as you guys are. And I'm telling you, if you've been waiting for a Challenger because they don't like wing fairing, this definitely is one of the ways to go. You can get the Roadmaster as well if you need the full touring one instead of the Pursuit. And the Roadmaster can even be equipped with that trick electric suspension that the Challenger, or excuse me, that the Pursuit has. So, pretty cool setup. I love the 112. It has quite a bit. I just saw the tailgate warning pop up because that person still kept coming a little bit quick. I thought I gave him room, but it did give me that tailgate warning. So, it has side tailgate warning at the bottom there. Really quick, tells you pretty quickly what's going on. I do like that. And I like how it's telling me how close that car is behind me, because there are times where I'm always checking those mirrors because I don't want to get blindsided, and that is rather cool watching that work and how fast it actually does work. It's very smooth acting. Downshifting on this is amazing. So engine braking is very good. The transmission up and down is very crisp and compliant. Power delivery is just all there where it needs to be. Braking power, we can do some braking power up here. There's nobody behind me, so let's practice some braking power here because we're going to come down from highway speed. Oh yeah, that's some serious bite. And that link braking, that's a trick. I did both brakes there, but I'm going to do just the one now. And you can feel that thing coming to a beautiful halt with both. Let me try the front brake here in a second. That way I can test out that link on that side. Ignore me, folks. I'm just going to have some fun here because I'm small enough to fit, and we're open. We can get back there. All right, now, power brake. That is quite nice, and it is a very even braking when you're using the link brake. That is almost how I modulate it myself, and that's pretty freaking cool. So the braking on it is very good. Engine braking's good. Power delivery is amazing. Of course, you do have the engine cylinder shut-off mode, which it just kicked into on its own. You'll see that there. I didn't try the hill hold assist. Not very many hills in Oklahoma. But, man, I am impressed. I really do like the way they have packaged this motorcycle together and the way it rides. It is very, very potent, very good motorcycle for sure. So yeah, like I said, if you're looking for that traditional fairing and have been holding off because the good engine was on only a fixed fairing, definitely come check out the Chieftains. Of course, we here at Indian of Oklahoma City, we do allow test rides as long as you have a valid endorsement on your license. So if you're looking to do that, stop by. bring your license, bring your helmet, bring your gear, you know, and that way you can take one out for a ride yourself and feel one of these out. They're quite an amazing machine. There's nothing wrong with the air-cooled ones by any means. They're still a fantastic motorcycle. Don't get me wrong. I still love my Springfield. I love the air suspension. You know, I love the traditional side of it all. But man, I'm almost converted. I've been holding off on the Challenger. I don't mind fixed fairings by any means, but man, there's just something about the ride of having that traditional Batwing in front of you and just the way the air feels. It's a little bit different. Not as contained, I'll put it that way. You have a little bit more air flowing at you versus the Challenger. And I like having that airflow and stuff. So for sure, this is a great motorcycle. And I highly recommend taking one out for a ride if you have never ridden an Indian before, or you know, a big bagger. This does not feel as big as it truly is. It just rides really well, and man, telling you, definitely recommend it. Love to see you guys come out here and try one for yourself. So yeah, take a look at one of these, ride one. Promise you it's going to surprise you. At any rate, this is the Rabbit Hedgehog. I want to thank my sponsors as well. We want to thank Law Tigers of Oklahoma for sponsoring the channel and also taking care of our community. They're constantly as part of the motorcycle community here in the Oklahoma City area. We want to thank them for that. I want to thank Doug Crawford and his USA Synthetics AMS oil products, keeping the internals of our machines safe. And I want to give a shout out to AGVSportUSA for our gear sponsorship as well. I know I'm not wearing their gear today. I just happen to be on my backup gear that's at work that I store in my office in the event that something comes up and I can ride, and was able to do so today. So I just had to use my backup gear. But AGV Sport is usually what our team wears on a normal given day. And that stuff has been fantastic for us. It's been long lasting. So give them a shout out as well. We'll put all the links and stuff in the description below. So at any rate, this is the Rabbit Hedgehog with Indian of Oklahoma City. Keep that shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next ride.